Okay, carry on.
Hello, welcome, namaskar to our third webinar. Before we dive into our third webinar, I would like to say a few lines about GMG Career Forum Germany and Garze Marathi Global. GMG Career Forum Germany is a not-to-profit organization running under the banner of Garze Marathi Global. We are a group of students and professionals, diverse professionals rather, coming together with a common aim to motivate, mentor, and inspire individuals to accomplish their career aspirations in Germany. One such step towards career aspirations can be via higher education. So today, with the form of this webinar, we are going to give you a glimpse of master's, MBA, and PhD opportunities in Germany. To keep the webinar simple, we have divided it into three parts. Can you please go to the agenda, Prajakta? Thank you. It is divided into three parts as you see on the slide. At the end of the three parts, we have a panel discussion which highlights the key experiences and learnings that we faced during our education process and PhD. This is an individual's point of view. Also, then we have a question answer session. The important note for a question answer session is that we will announce when you can put your questions in the chat box. Please ask your questions only via chat box. Due to the time constraint, we cannot answer all the questions, but we will try to answer maximum questions that we can. If your question remains unanswered and you wish to seek guidance on it, at the end of the webinar, we will show you how you can reach to us. So let's start. Masters in Germany. Before I start with the Masters in Germany, a quick introduction about myself. I came 9 years back for doing Masters in Engineering, and I'm currently working as a customer quality manager at a semiconductor company. At the time when I came to Germany, it was not a preferred destination to study masters due to very little awareness about the education system structure and its advantages, as you see on the slide now. The most advantage of studying in Germany is that there are wide ranges of courses in all disciplines, which can range from 1.5 years to 2 years at various universities. Apart from that, we have an excellent infrastructure to support the courses. And this is not just the labs that we are talking about, but there are also other facilities like libraries, or you can use licensed softwares, or you can use various other concession utilities. You can also do free of certifications like Six Sigma or any other certifications on the university. And the most important thing is you can also learn the German language free of cost at the university campus. The quality of education here is very good, and it matches to the recent industry trends and the research trends. The professors here are very much aligned with the industry and the research standards. So you can observe that many of the professors have research projects ongoing, or also industry projects with various companies. So it also gives you an opportunity to work under them. The economy of Germany is very product-based. So the manufacturing of cars or small equipments, it's all product-based. One advantage you get after completing your master's, if you don't get a job, is a period of 18 months to search for a job. This allows you to search for the right job you want to get, and also it's kind of taking your stress away. It de-stresses you, so you can focus purely on your master's studies. The cost of education, that's a very important point I think everybody of us considers. The cost of education is really minimal. Almost there are no tuition fees to all the public universities. The contributions you pay here are in the form of some fees to the student council or as a travel card. And if there are some fees there at the private universities, if the course offers it, and it's very manageable, it's not something too expensive. There are also a lot of scholarships available at DAR or at your university. You just need to check that. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. Now, before you decide to do a master's in Germany, I wanted to let you know that there are categories of university that you need to know about. So it's divided into three main categories: university, technical university, TU, and University of Applied Sciences, FH or TH. As you see, the university has a total focus only on theory, research, and scientific work. This course is structured in such a way to train future scientists in the fields of fundamental sciences. You can do postdoctorate, doctorate studies, and the career focus is purely on academics. The master's courses here are of 2 years and 120 credit points. The technical university, as the name itself suggests, its focus is on scientific and technical course of study, with a specialization in a particular branch, for example, micro nanotechnology or embedded systems or computer science, like that. Here you can have a balance between research and application-oriented studies with a strong theory background. Here you can also do doctoral, postdoctoral studies. As I said, there is a balance. So you can opt for academic career, or you can adopt for a industry-based career. The master courses are also here for 2 years and 120 credit points. The last university, what I'm going to talk about, is the University of Applied Sciences, FH or TH. The courses here are purely based on practical knowledge and matched to the current industry standards. There is no direct possibility to do a doctorate at a university or TU. If you want to do a doctorate at TU or university, your professor at the TU or university might ask you to complete some credit points so that you are eligible to do a doctorate. But on the other hand, you can do industry PhDs with the companies. The courses over here are of 1.5 years and 90 credit points. So now, as you have a complete overview of how the master's in Germany looks about, the main question remains: how can I find my respective program? So I'm asked Prajakta to show a slide. Prajakta, can you share the, yeah, thank you.
Should I click somewhere, Anuja?
Oh, can you give me access? I have asked you to give me access. Yeah, okay. So now if you see here, this website was developed developed with a DAR, which is considered to be a very valid and recognized forum for international students and studies if you are coming from any other part of the world. So if you see, there are many options like plan your studies, discover Germany, plan your stay, and everything. So if you just see the plan your studies, you will get things like find your program and university, what are its requirements, are there any international programs, do I need to do any preparation course or foundation course, how is the application going to look for me, how is the financing and scholarship. There is also a page about higher education system, what I said about types of universities, university degree programs, the field of studies where you can choose from. So this is basically a one-stop destination page where you can not you just find a program, but you can also plan further steps, like planning after you have received an admit from a university, where you can find accommodation, my first steps, um, what are the money costs, and how can I work while studying. And there are also, what's interesting is there are also some student stories. So these are some experiences of previous students, um, from which you can learn a lot, I think. So yeah, I think now it's too much for you to digest about masters. So I would like to switch to MBA possibilities. Over to you, Akshay.
Akshay, are you there?
Is he mute or?
Yeah.
Let me check. Akshay is not there in the meeting. Akshay Joshi, yeah. I'm unmuting him. Akshay, you are on mute.
Yes, I'm very much in the meeting, and I'm finally my voice is heard. Okay, great. So just building on what Anuja has said, this is the MBA. So just an addition to the master's program that we are in. So to give you a brief background about myself first. Hi everyone, my name is Akshay Joshi. I graduated in 2012. After that, I worked for about five and a half years in India in the automotive and engineering industries and in the function of supply chain. Thereafter, during that time, I also completed my MTech from BITS Pilani. And then I decided that, okay, I need to broaden my horizon, and I started looking for MBA options all across the world. And this is where it brings us to our first slide. So how does German MBA compare to the global MBA programs? And what you can see, this is all my research, and what I found is the German MBA programs are certainly more comparable to the US, Australia, Canada, UK MBA programs. And the main thing, or the main difference is, it is a general management MBA program. So as you know, maybe if you go to US, you will have the first year as a general management program, followed by a second year of specialization. But most of the European programs, as well as German programs, are more or less 1 year general management MBA programs. There are certain schools that offer certainly specialized programs, but you have to really do your research in your specific areas to fine tune those universities. As Anuja said, German economy is on par the best global economies. What I found about it is not just automotive like the general perception. It is a holistic economy with areas in pharma, chemical, finance, medicine, etc., etc. And it is a very closely aligned economy to the Indian economy. Even though IT is always said to be the predominant sector or something that is world famous from India, there are also a lot of companies that are German that operate in India, mostly in manufacturing domain, in engineering domain, so on and so forth. The other important thing that I found about the MBA programs, or in general the German education system, is the strong industry immersion. And during the whole MBA program, it allows you to have a lot of industry connect. And of course, reiterating what Anuja said, it's a very strong ROI when it comes to MBA. If you think about MBA programs in the US or UK, they are in the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Compared to that, of course, the MBA programs in Germany are not completely free as the other master's programs, but they are certainly quite cheaper when it comes to the global competition. But, and this brings me to the next slide, Prajakta, if you could. The MBA adoption in Germany is still not that well spread. So when you go to, let's say, the immigration authorities or the local people here, and you tell them that I'm doing an MBA, they are a bit flummoxed about it. So not everyone is completely on board with the concept of an MBA. Whereas when you say masters, yeah, they completely know that, okay, he's doing a master's degree. And this is where the difference between the private and the public universities come in. So because Anuja has uh, delved deeper into all the university systems and all, I won't spend a lot of time giving you an overview about it. But what I noticed is when you compare the global MBA programs, with respect to that, the private MBA programs in Germany are more aligned to these global MBA programs. Now, it certainly does not mean in any case that the academic or the industry interaction, there's a difference between public and private. So they are absolutely the same when it comes to the academic quality, the teaching staff, the entire content of the coursework. But what it does differ is what I've tried to list down here, is sometimes public universities are, they tend to be lesser popular because the private universities have a more broader outreach, global partnerships, more industry partnerships, so on and so forth. This is only in terms of MBA I'm talking about, okay, that I should make clear. Maybe it could be a case that the German requirement could be higher in terms of public universities, but when you think of it, it is actually a good way for language onboarding. Um, Most of the international crowd tends to gravitate towards the private universities, and that is why it could be the case that public universities may not have as much of a diverse cohort, but that is changing in the recent years as the MBA has been adopted throughout the country, so on and so forth. But the quality of the education, the staff, the course content, this is all exceptionally well and on par with any other top global universities. Coming to the private universities, these are the programs that are currently ranked through Germany on the global MBA ranking. So whenever people think about MBA, they come to think about Financial Times rankings, QS MBA rankings, so on and so forth. So these are the ones that are represented there. That makes all the entire applicant pool from global countries to this global programs a bit more diverse when you compare it to the public ones. And they also have admissions through standardized tests such as GMAT, GRE, TOEFL, but they also have admissions through their own test as well. So for example, I graduated from Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. They have their own admission test as well. So if you are not prepared in terms of GMAT, GRE, so on and so forth, you can take these singular tests and also apply to these programs. A good way to understand about the private universities is to visit the MBA Alliance Germany. It is an alliance of top 5 business schools from Germany. They have come together to sort of promote the whole MBA education system and everything in Germany. What I would also like, or it's a lesson learned for me, is that you guys should certainly visit gmatclub.com. There you will find a lot of threads for all these business schools, programs, so on and so forth. And through the GMAT club, you will get to understand from current students, from ex-students, from alumni, from potential students. You can discuss it with them, so on and so on. But you would think that, okay, because most of the global MBA programs, including German programs, require you to have certain years of work ex, 3 to 5 years of work ex, or so on and so forth. But if fresh out of school, you still want to pursue management education, Germany really gives you opportunities to do that as well. You have courses such as Masters in Management. You have dual degree engineering management MBA programs, such as SRH Hochschule gives you an degree in engineering plus management. So all these things you can certainly harness. You should first have your career focus ready, and then of course do your research. We are certainly there to help you. And as a next step, let us understand about the PhD programs. Over to you, Prajakta. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Akshay. So, Namaskar, I'm Dr. Prajakta Oak. I am here since last 13 years. I came here in 2008 to pursue my PhD in oncology, wherein I was working in a university in a department of pharmacy. Then I moved to do my postdoc in the field of lung diseases, and I was working in an institute called Helmholtz Center here in Munich. It's one of the top institutes in our field. I did my postdoc for 7 years, so I have this experience of 10 years of academics over here. And then I'm now, since last 2 years, I'm actually working as a team leader in a pharma company over here in Munich. But before actually I came to Germany, I had no intention to pursue my PhD outside India. In fact, I was excelling in my course in Masters in University of Mumbai, and I was pretty sure that I could get a PhD position into good national institutes in India. I even started as a research assistant in National Center for Cell Science in Pune, but after 2 years, the funds got exhausted. I worked for 6 to 7 months without payment, and that's when I realized that I don't want to be any more dependent on my parents for the funding. And I want to have a PhD where I know that I see the end and I am independent. And so I started looking for options outside. Back then, awareness about Germany was not that much. Germany was recommended by a few colleagues from National Center for Cell Science. I applied for positions over here, and what intrigued me to come here was that I was getting a position, a lab, and a supervisor with whom I wanted to work. I liked the project, they liked me. I was getting a salary, a payment wherein I could sufficiently survive here, as well as save some money to go back to India every year. And this was a country from where I could go back to India if required within a day's time. So these three factors were really enough for me to make this decision. But when I came here, I actually realized that it was a brilliant decision, because it was not just these factors, but many more factors that are advantageous if you are selecting Germany as your PhD destination. So first of all, once a professor selects you and you get the lab of your wish, or you get the university institution of your wish, then actually either you get a stipend from institutions like DAD or DFG, and this is also long-term, so it's 3 to 5 years most of the time, or it's actually your boss's responsibility, your supervisor's responsibility to get the funding for you so that you can only focus on your project. All you have to do after getting admitted for a PhD here is to focus on your project, take it further, and do your project by dedication. That's it. So it's focused, it's flexible, and it's secured, because you don't have to think about any other thing than your project. It's result-oriented as well. Here in Germany, actually, work council rules are really stringent. So every employee is protected by work council rules. And as you are also treated as an employee when you are doing your PhD, you can also avail all these rules from work council. And depending on your university or your institution, you can even have work council on site. So if you have any issues with your employer, if they are genuine issues, like harassment or getting paid less or something, you can, of course, easily go to work council, open up about your issues, and if it is genuine, they will help you in getting your rightful position and getting your rightful salary or stipendium. So on one hand, you can avail work council benefits as employees, but on the other hand, you get your degree from university. So you have to register in university. And that's why you can avail all the benefits of students as well. All the benefits that Anuja and Akshay just told us about, all of that you can avail. You can also go for international student identity card. With this card, actually, you can avail discounts and benefits all over Europe, and if I'm not wrong, also in some parts of USA. So it's basically a better situation. You are an employee, at the same time, you're also a student. And you actually have a choice between stipend and salary. So if you are on a salaried position, I was on a salaried position. I selected my lab, I selected my supervisor, he selected me, and I joined the position. So the advantages, actually, on a salaried position, you have to pay taxes. So in the end, you get less money in hand. But as you are paying taxes, and if you pay taxes minimum for 1 year, you can avail unemployment money later. So if you think that, okay, after PhD, I would like to stay back, I would like to look for my options of job and postdoc, and there is a certain period of time where you are unemployed, you can get unemployment money. On the other hand, if you go for stipend, then you don't have to pay taxes. You get more money in hand right from the beginning. So you can make an informed decision. What is your future plan? If you want to go for stipend, if you want to go for salary. Also, you can make a choice between academics, institution, and industry. So you can be in university. You can be in any department of university, do your PhD there. You can be in any institution, like I did my postdoc from Helmholtz. There is Max Planck in my field as well. Or you can even do a PhD in industry. So there are big companies in my field like Thermo Fisher, Roche, they have industrial PhD programs. So the advantage of actually going to industry is it's a lot more focused than academics. It's a lot more defined, and you must finish your PhD indefinite amount of time, like 3 years or 4 years. Then it's not that flexible as academic is. But on the other hand, you get your degree faster, and you're already in the corporate environment. You get groomed in the corporate environment. So these are advantages of industrial PhD. If you don't want to go for these programs, if you are already registered in India or in other countries, then there are also sandwich programs, especially by the institution DAAD that Anuja also mentioned. So there you have to be registered in country of your origin. You have to do major part of your PhD in the country of origin. Then you have to look for a lab or a university or a professor to collaborate over here. And then you can come here for 6 months up to 1 year, do a part of your PhD here, go back and submit your thesis in the country of origin. So this is also an advantage actually, because you get exposure here, you can make collaborations, and you can maybe come here for future career opportunities after you have finished PhD in your country of origin. The major advantage also to select Germany is that it's, of course, technically advanced, but the language of science is English. So you don't have to worry if you don't know the language. You can very well write your thesis in English, very well defend your thesis in English. Of course, there are advantages of knowing language, which we will hear about later, so I'm not going into details of it now. And one other major advantage of pursuing academics here is that a whole new platform of international collaborations get open for you. Germans like to collaborate. They do international and national collaborations with different professors, different labs, different universities. So you get exposure for conferences, publications, and also seminars, workshop, and so on. And if you are lucky, you can also get involved in organization of one such international event. So there is a lot of international exposure. So like Anuja showed you a website for masters, there's also a website for PhD, www.research-in-germany.org. This is from Federal Ministry of Education. This has all the information from A to Z, also some experiences from students. So for time purposes, I'm not going to show this website to you now, but I would really urge, if you want to pursue academics here, be it for PhD, be it for postdoc, do go through this website. It has all the information you will need. Right, so I said that academics here or PhD here is flexible. You can actually select to go for individual PhD. That is what I did. I selected the professor, the lab, the project. So you can very well approach individual professors. If they have money right away and a project right away, they will hire you right away. But if they like you and if they don't even have the project running yet, they will actually make sure that they arrange funds from somewhere, start a project with you and hire you. So it's also a major advantage to approaching people individually. Then I already spoke about salary and stipendium. So when you go for individual programs, you have this choice. The recognition process requirement is fairly easy. Also, you have a choice to go for structured programs. So here a group of professor is actually hiring a group of students. You of course will work with your own Dr. Father or Dr. Mother, but you will be a part of a group of PhD students that are hired together. So you have to undergo an application process. Then there is a committee which is actually monitoring. If you get hired in a structured program, there is a committee which will monitor you at every different step. So you actually will get a benefit of being in a collaborative environment. There are certain requirements, like you might need to do lab rotations where you can get to know different labs. You probably have to do some coursework to increase your knowledge. So these are all benefits of structured programs, and you get trained, you get groomed with this kind of programs too. I have already spoken about industrial PhD, so I won't go into that anymore. For all these PhDs, the recognition process is fairly simple. You just need recognition of your master's degree. I think Anuja already spoke about it, so I won't go into the details. You just have to select your program, your professor, and you just need to have that zeal to pursue your PhD, to do a focus project. That's it. You don't require anything else. If you want to look beyond PhD, you can, of course, go for postdoc, and then you can, of course, think about professorship, do your habilitation. But if you want to do your habilitation in Germany, I would urge you to think it beforehand, plan it, choose your supervisor wisely, because like everywhere worldwide, the habilitation, the professor circle is kind of closed circle. You have to do teaching as well. You have to prove yourself. You have to have a great academic record. You need to be independent with respect to funds and so on. And here you need a lot of support from your supervisor. So you should think about it beforehand and choose your supervisor wisely. The last thing that I want to mention is about titles. Germany, or people in Germany, actually respect higher education a lot. They respect your titles a lot too. And that's why you will see here, you can do PhD in any field you want, be it human resources, be it law, be it finance, anything. You can do your PhD in any field. Here you do promotion, you don't do PhD. What is a promotion? It's basically acquiring a doctoral degree in a particular subject. So you get the right to use your doctor title. There are many controversies in or conversations happening in different countries, whether you should write doctor in front of your name or you should write PhD behind your name. But in Germany, you actually get the right to write doctor title in front of your name. And the titles are also distinguishing so that they actually tell from which field you belong to. So if you are a medical doctor, your title will be Dr. Med. If you are a veterinary doctor, your title will be Dr. Med Vet. My title is Dr. Renard because I did it from natural sciences. Then you have Dr. Phil for humanities, Dr. Ing for engineering. So different fields have different titles to distinguish your field. And also, as I said, they are very much respected. You have here salary slabs, and these salary slabs are actually ensuring that you get salary as per your education level. So if you want to grow here more, having a title is actually beneficial. It is also important to take titles in a specific way. This shows respect. In India, most of the times we say Dr. Prajakta, but here you always have to add the surname with the doctor. So you have to say Dr. Oak, and you have to distinguish who is professor, who is doctor. I think even in masters, you have a few professors teaching you, a few doctors teaching you. So you always have to distinguish and take the proper title. This shows respect here in Germany. So yeah, I think I have taken a lot of time now, so I will stop here. If you have questions, you can of course get back to us or ask now later on. But I would also like to hand over the stage to Ishan Desai. He is coming from a very different field where academics is not that popular, but he has still selected to go for a PhD. And so his experience is different than mine, and that's why I would like to hand over to Ishan now so we can hear his experience as well.
Yes, thanks, Prajakta. Can you go to the slide? Yes. So a little bit about me. So I'm a mechanical engineer who did a master's in computer science from the Technical University of Munich. And I'm now doing a PhD in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Stuttgart. So I want to talk about doing doctoral studies in engineering and applied science with a focus on computer science. So mainly to pursue a doctorate in a subject which combines engineering and science. So this is something that is a bit new, but that's coming up a lot. There are a lot of positions to the point that many people in our department, for example, struggle to find good candidates to pursue such a doctorate. So I'll just quickly go through the typical important points of such a doctorate and try to kind of sell it that why you should do this. So typically a doctorate in computer science has two parts, as you see in the second bullet point. So the first part is that you develop some form of mathematical model to support a fundamental idea. So you take an idea, it can be an algorithm, it can be a physical concept, it can be something that is upcoming in research and has not been fully investigated. Then you kind of build a theoretical framework around it. So this takes a lot of time. So this also has a lot of literature study in it. It tests your basics of engineering and science. And once this theory is built, you move to the second point. And the second point is usually developing an application. So typically this entails that you write a software package which kind of does the theoretical job that you first described. So this is how typically these new PhDs are structured. The good part is that many of these programs are supported by the TU9 universities in Germany. So they are the top 9 technical universities. Anuja already talked about these type of universities. So the advantage of these universities is that they are also very well funded, supported by the industry. So typically, just as Prajakta, I also, from the salary I get from my PhD, I can easily save money, travel to India, and kind of live a very, very normal life here. So this is something that's different from the US and the UK, but that is a point I want to get across, that it's financial viability is definitely possible. So the other advantage of such PhD programs is that they are structured. So the PhD doesn't go on and on and on forever. So we have structured programs of 3 to 4 years with a well-formulated kind of time plan and work packages. So it has a very good industrial overtone to the PhD. And this also helps the candidate to think in a way that, okay, my PhD is not something that could just drag on, but it's something that's more of like an industrial project, which is going to finish at certain point of time and allows me to move on with my career. And computer science is something that Germany has always played a catching up race with. So that's something that the US was always ahead in, and Germany tried to catch up. So in this whole catching up, there is also a lot of money being poured into it. So we constantly hear news that machine learning, AI, deep learning, these things, money, more and more money is going into that in Germany. So it's very important that this money is matched with good candidates. So that's exactly what I am trying to fulfill, the gap that is there in Germany right now. So there is a lot of funding, a lot of opportunities to do such kind of PhDs, but not enough good candidates. So I encourage those of who are interested to go through the resources on the right hand side. I have put in a few links. I will also copy these links in the chat box so that you can easily open them. This pipeline shows briefly what a PhD looks like. I will not go into these details, but if you're interested in talking about what are the stages of this PhD, just feel free to contact me or other members of this panel today. So with that, I would like to kind of hand it over to Anuja for a panel discussion. So we heard a lot about what we want to say, but now a more personalized experience. So yes, over to you, Anuja. Thanks.
Okay, I think we are running quite a lot, running out of time, but we can have a short, very short panel discussion, and then we can go to directly to the question answers. So most of the questions that you have asked in the chat box can be answered during the panel discussion as well. For example, there was a question like, what is the medium of instruction here? So most of the courses, not just the international courses for Masters MBA, are in English. So my course was in English. Prajakta also came here to do her PhD in English. And we have Shreya on the board, whose course is totally in German. So I would like to go directly to Shreya and ask her how did she find about a German course and what were her requirements and experience.
Thank you, Anuja. So first thing, as Anuja already said, we have two language of instructions, English as well as German. And my course is completely German taught. So the requirements for the German taught course are, there are two exams similar to IELTS examination for English. We have DSH as well as test of examination. Both are entry or certification examinations. And without these examinations, you cannot get admissions into a German course. Also, the test of exam is of 5 bands. From these, you need to get 4 bands in reading, listening, writing, speaking. If you have 4 bands in all of them, then you are eligible for a German taught education. Then, when you enter the education, in the beginning, it is very difficult or you might get little stressed. The reason is, when you learn the language in general, it is a literature language. And when you go into technical, you have many different technical words which you need to cope up with. So in the beginning, if you just start with taking only 2 subjects or 3 subjects and work hard on your technical languages, along with the help of your professors, then it goes really very easy. During your examinations or in the middle also, if you contact your professors and you ask them that, okay, I have shifted from an English language into a German language, then they will help you out. No one says that they cannot help you out. Even in examination, sometimes they offer you options of answering into German as well as English if you don't remember any vocabulary. And the first semester is comparatively difficult. But if you work on just your technical vocabulary in first semester, then the later semester becomes easy. And working or studying in German language, one thing is your selection level, or when you want to work for the student jobs in different fields. Everyone here, like not always, but they ask you if you have a B1 level or a B2 level, and the preference, if you already know the German language well, or if you have studied in German language, then the preference goes high. Yeah, and getting your jobs also, it becomes easy. You can easily get student jobs. Now, there are people in our panels who, like I worked on a student job based on German language, but there are people who have also worked or done internships based in their own fields. And therefore, we have someone like Aniket with us who has done an internship in his own field, but with the English language and not exactly German. So I'll go to Aniket on this.
Yeah, thanks, Riya. So I studied Masters in Information Technology in Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences, and I did my work student job in the same field which I was studying in. So to apply for these jobs when you are studying is really simple for me, because we had a university portal for all the students to work as a work student or to do internship. So I just gone through this university portal and I found work student job for me. I was from software engineering. I did my work student in web development, And later on, as I was situated in Frankfurt, I applied for internship in Deutsche Bank. So it was also quite easy to apply. And I think it's a little bit different than India, because in India we don't have that much experience of working while doing your bachelor study. So after coming here, you learn a lot. You learn German also. You get a little bit of practical experience, and I would definitely suggest to do work student or internship in your own field where you are studying, so that it will add a weightage to your resume. And with that, maybe I can ask Ishan for his work student, and he did also thesis in company. So I would like to ask Ishan what was his experience in that.
Yes, thanks, Aniket. So I also kind of did a part-time job to support myself while I was studying, and that was definitely possible. I did it in the academic side of things because I was sure I wanted to do a PhD. So a small correction, that I did my master thesis also in academia in the university. So I joined a research group. I worked there. I continued to work there over a period of 2 years, and then converted that work into a master thesis, and eventually that also landed me this PhD. So the broad message that I think all panelists will agree is that working alongside studying is something that you can definitely do and are encouraged to do in Germany, and that yields, it's not only about money, it also gives you the contact. It builds a professional network on which you can build your career. So it is like you have a continuation from education to a job if you work while you study here. So that's kind of the main message we want to give. There were a few more personal things that people want to tell, but due to limited time, we will now move to question answers. So enough about us, and we would like to hear what you say, and I try to answer your questions. So I hand it over to Neha for the Q&A.
Thanks, Ishan. There are a lot of Q&A questions that we have received in the chat. So thank you all for actively participating and thinking it through about what the participants or what the panelists have already provided you as an information. There is one statement I would like to make is for the questions which are very specific. For example, somebody asked a question about MSc in nutrition and what would be the path ahead. Specific questions like these cannot be answered here because it really needs a lot more time. So we would ask you to connect to us via the GMG forum. So we are going to take some broad questions here. And first question goes to Anuja about mechanical engineering. And the person wants to do the master's in Germany and would like to know when should they start applying to schools over here and what are some of the key requirements. Over to you, Anuja.
Thanks, Neha. As I mentioned, I have given a link in the chat box. I can post the link once again. On this link, you can find all the necessary courses, master courses in Germany, and which are in English or which are in 75% English or 25% German. The very most important point that you should consider is, do you want to go for masters directly after your bachelor studies? If so, you should target for the winter semester. And if you're targeting for the winter semester, the deadlines are mostly by 15th of June, if I'm not wrong, or 15th of July. But you can find this information, everything in the link, and also the requirements, because the requirements vary from university to university, but the key requirements are like getting an IELTS or TOEFL done. You should have your transcripts from universities. You should have a cover letter and letter of motivation, a CV prepared. But in detail requirements you can find on this website, and also if you click on this website and go to the university website itself, the requirements would be given in detail, and you can also see how you can get these documents done also. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you, Anuja. I think looking at the amount of questions that I have received so far, we are going to extend this webinar by at least 15 to 20 minutes. So request all of you who have joined and asked the questions to stay online. Next question goes to Akshay about the MBA programs, and there are a lot of questions that have come in. So I'm going to summarize and ask, what is the difference between MBA and MIM, and what are the requirements for these two programs? Also, if there is a part-time possibility to do these programs, and what are the language requirements? Over to you, Akshay.
Yes, certainly there are a lot of questions. And guys, I know you have a lot of queries. I will certainly try to address them all. If not, please reach out to us via email or connect me with via LinkedIn. I will do my best to help each and every one of you. Okay, to just summarize, yes, there are possibilities for pursuing part-time MBA programs, executive MBA programs, full-time MBA programs, all of them in Germany, in private as well as in public universities. You just have to research your program, the school offering, what you want out of the program a bit more in detail. As for the MIM, yes, all of the schools also offer MIM programs, but the major difference between MIM and the rest of the MBA programs is the amount of work ex that you have. So typically the people with less than 2 to 3 years of work ex apply for MIM programs. They are 2-year masters in management programs, predominantly with uh, not much of work ex requirements or even zero work ex requirement. But full-time MBA programs, part-time MBA, executive MBA, all have work ex requirements. And then if you especially apply to private universities, then it becomes a bit more tough and challenging. But I will certainly answer all your doubts offline. Please reach out to us. I hope this was a lot generic but somewhat helpful. Yeah.
Thanks, Akshay. Moving to the next question to Aniket and Ishan about the cybersecurity degree at the undergraduate level.
Aniket, do you want to go first or should I?
No, you can take it, Ishan. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So cybersecurity is something of a hot topic in Germany for a very political reason. So Germany, the German laws care a lot, and you can see it in the news that Google, Facebook companies are constantly fined in Germany for data selling that they do. So cybersecurity is a big thing. It's a lot of money is poured into it. There's a lot of scope to do research, and it's very well protected and supported from the political and social angle. So there are a lot of undergraduate programs. For example, Technical University Munich is known for its cybersecurity programs. So how to find these individual programs is a detailed question, which I can answer at another time, but I would definitely say that it's a good topic and these programs are available and can be done. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ishan, for this crisp answer. Moving on to Ajay with the question, what are the opportunities in biomedical engineering after master's, apart from doing the PhD? Ajay, can you hear us?
Ajay is on mute. Ajay is on mute.
I guess let's move on then to Ishan, and I'll come back to you, Ajay. Ishan, the next question to you is, the person has done mechanical engineering and is currently pursuing PhD in computer science. Is it possible for a mechanical engineer to switch their career path, and how?
Yes, so I quickly answer this because I already answered this briefly in the chat. So typically a way to do this is to select a master program which combines mechanical engineering and computer science. So as an example of the auto industry, I can say pick a program in autonomous driving, because in that you need the fundamentals of mechanical engineering combined with the concepts of computer science, and that's how you transition from mechanical engineering to computer science. Of course, if you do mechanical engineering and apply directly for masters in informatics, you probably won't get in, but there are these allied programs which provide the bridge from one side of this engineering to the other. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Next question goes to Rohit. There was a concern voiced in the question that the person has heard from certain relatives that despite low cost of the degree, at finding jobs is really difficult. Is it because of the COVID situation, or it's generally the scenario? Over to you, Rohit.
Yeah, I think this is it's a great question, an important question. In my view, there are more than sufficient opportunities, right? all across Germany. Akshay talked about Germany being a place where there are multiple industries in operation. The challenge is always about how do you go about getting the job. There are more than sufficient jobs. There's a massive talent gap, especially when you talk about in the technology or the scientific field. So if you have the right background, if you have the right knowledge, the question is really about how do you build a brand for yourself so that you can pursue and get those jobs. So the question is how. The question should not be about are there enough? There are more than sufficient jobs. Just last week, we hired 3 software engineers in our company, and we have nothing to do with software development, right? So there are tons and tons of jobs. The question is about how you get them. We will, in the course of the next few webinars, have a few sessions or part sessions, which will be dedicated to how do you go about finding jobs in Germany. So stay tuned with us.
Thanks, Rohit. With that question and the answer, I have another follow-up question which I've received, and that question goes to Prajakta. How stable is the job in academics? For example, after doing PhD or postdoc, what would it take if we are extending and have time? What are our opportunities in that field? Over to you, Prajakta.
Thanks, Neha. So actually, it's a very good question. As I said, to consider academics in Germany if you want to pursue even postdoc here afterwards. As worldwide, even in Germany, the academics is contract based. So it's very rare that you get permanent contract, let's say. It's very rare. But if here actually work council rules are really stringent, really good. So if you are working with a professor, with a lab, with a university as a postdoc for up to 10 years, then that lab has to make you permanent. So that lab has to give you a permanent contract. So I would say that compared to other parts, it is still stable. For 10 years, yes, you have to work a bit hard. It really depends on the funding that you have, whether you go for individual funding, whether you have funding from your professor. Of course, if you want to make a career, it's always beneficial to go for individual funding. But if you reach this limit of 10 years, then you are set because you should get or you must get a permanent contract from your institution, from your lab, from your professor. And actually, if you are staying that long in a lab, then it is considered that you want to do a long-term career in this lab, in this field, and with this professor. So you already start talking about it. So I would say that it is still stable compared to other parts.
Thank you so much, Prajakta. I'm again going to check with Ajay if he is ready to answer the question. Ajay, if you can hear us and can unmute yourself. I would really like to ask you about the career options after doing the master's in biomedical engineering. Ajay? Looks like, unfortunately, we cannot get him. So next question goes to Akshay again about the MBA program. Ojasvi would like to understand that she's from a non-technical background. She's an undergrad in management and would like to pursue her MBA. Currently, she's working into a tech recruitment domain, but she's more interested in leadership management programs. What's the scope and what are the options? Over to you, Akshay.
Yes, as I was just typing to an answer to Ojasvi, it is a very broad spectrum question. And to understand what are the scopes for it, it is like discussing the whole MBA program and the leadership options afterwards. But in general, what I would like to stress upon is the fact that when MBAs in India graduate from schools, they are laterally hired to, let's say, managerial or senior managerial positions based on your coursework. But in Germany, a person grows from within the company. So of course, with the changing scenarios and the global adoption of the MBA concept, the larger organizations are changing their perspective, but still largely the outlook is that the people go from within. So it may not happen that you directly reach out or reach into the leadership roles, but you will certainly get good roles after you graduate. And to know more about or to guide you better, I would like to we need to understand more of your profile. What are your experiences, how many years of work ex, where do you aspire to be? And it would certainly be best to connect offline in that case. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Akshay. Next question is primarily to Shreya, but other panelists, please join in. The question is, the person is actually pursuing BTech in mechanical engineering and would be graduating this year. The person didn't consider Germany as a potential education destination, but would like to after listening to you guys. So that's a big compliment. And the person would like to understand how important is it to take a year off or maybe take some time off to study the German language and then come here to do the degree. So I would like to request Shreya to start first and other panelists jump in as you like. Over to you, Shreya.
Shreya is on mute, but
please unmute her.
Let me jump in to that.
Sure.
I have answered this question in the chat box also. Most of, as I mentioned before, most of the courses are in English, the master courses. So it depends upon you if you want to study in English or you want to study in German. If your course requires German, then you can start learning German now as well. But it totally depends upon you. So I have pasted the links also over there where you can find a suitable course and know the medium of instruction, if it's English or German, and then chalk out your further plans accordingly.
Yeah, Anuja, I would just add on to this. So as Anuja said, there are many courses in English. And so when I came here, I did not know a word of German, and I came here and I learned German afterwards. So you don't need to be afraid if you don't know any German before coming here. You can very well learn it here as well.
Yes, and as I mentioned in my master's advantage, you can learn for free of cost the German on your university campus.
Right, as a PhD too, right.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. I guess I've just received a note from Ajay that he is now good to answer the question. Ajay, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So basically in biomedical engineering, it depends on which field you wanted to do in industry. So there are a couple of things like if you wanted to go for in the marketing, if you wanted to go for the R&D or regulatory affairs are the booming right now, because the medical device regulations has going to be changed in June 2021. So initially it was like until 2017, MDR 2017 they were using, but now it's going to be changed in 2021. So this kind might be the good option for those who are looking for jobs in biomedical engineering after the MS. There is one more interesting area that is called the application specialist or the project management as well in this biomedical or maybe the healthcare sector. So those who are interested in that, yeah, just reach out to us. I can guide on more on that offline.
Great. I think I'm receiving a lot more specific questions now in the chat. And I guess there is a lot more questions saying, who can I reach out to for my specific questions? We really appreciate this overwhelming response. And there is an email address to GMG Forum, which we will put into the chat for everyone. And that's the email address to reach out to all of us. Please do not reach out to us individually. It might be really hard for all the panelists to reach out to you in their individual capacity. So reach out to us on the GMG forum. And now I would hand it over to Akshay for the closing remarks and upcoming webinars. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Neha. We have been trying to combine all of the expertise that we have garnered across the entire panel, and we are trying to bring to all of you very interesting topics just like today. We also have an upcoming topic on careers in artificial intelligence and data science. We had a question earlier today about the same topic, so you certainly would like to attend this. We are not just the panelists, but we also will try to bring in guest speakers from the industry, and we also have a follow-up topic on intercultural communication and professional environment, which is also going to be hosted by an industry specialist. So we have this and many more sessions planned in the upcoming pipeline. Prajakta, if you could go to the next slide. I would request all of you to connect to us through our social media handles, send all across your queries on the personal on the Garze Marathi email address mentioned there. We will try and certainly respond to all of your queries through the subject matter experts that we have. We are really grateful for all of you coming here with your queries, with your attendance. We would certainly be happy to help you, but we would also request you all to do your part of the job, do the research on your side, come back to us. We are all certainly there to help you out, and the only thing that we would like from you is to then help someone else in the future. That's it from our side, and thank you very much. We hope to see you soon in the follow-up sessions. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.